Hey everyone, welcome to another episode of the Brown Girl in Beijing podcast. It's a podcast about my Beijing life, and I'm your host, Dr. Baby. Hey everyone, welcome to another episode of the Brown Girl in Beijing. Today we have another guest, to find out who she is and what she does and why she's here and what we're going to talk about. You have to do what? Stay tuned.
I know you've been jamming with your crew. You got to leave, but that one last one through. I want to put another wine on you. I got that good. If I put it right there, would you wine on me? If I put it right there.
All right. So today we have Miss Kindall Tyson. She is a licensed therapist. She's one of my good friends. I was really happy to meet her. That was July when I did the storytelling with Embassy. She was there. She also hosted the transitions workshop that the storytelling that was the event that sort of set up the workshop. And so super excited. I got to be on her channel a while ago. So Black and Abroad. I will make sure to link it so that you can watch not only my episode, but everybody else's. She has a whole YouTube series for the month of February. And yeah, I'm going to let her do a little bit of talking. Just tell us who you are, where you're from, why you're here, how long you've been here, what you're doing, just the whole Beijing introduction. Yeah.
Okay. It's so interesting because when I ask people who are you, they're always like, "Oh my gosh, that's so hard." And here I am in the hot seat.
Yes,
and it's, what do I say?
Whatever comes out.
Right. What do I say? Who am I? I have all these things in my head that I want to say, and I'm like, "Oh, don't say that. Pick that." Well, I'll just say, one, I'm a really compassionate individual. I am a helping professional by nature, not just profession. I am, I would say, a charismatic, loving, kind, energetic, assertive, boss lady that loves working with people, loves connecting with individuals, loves her family, loves her freedom, hence why I live in a whole other country, loves to engage in creative pursuits, and I love all things mental health and promotion of mental health and holistic wellness. I am a licensed therapist. I'm a certified professional school counselor. I've been in Beijing since August the 7th, 2018. That's my China anniversary.
Yeah.
So it'll be, oh my gosh, 5 years in August. I did not think I would be here that long, but I am. Counselor at an international school. I run my own business, Inspire Counseling and Wellness Center, a virtual therapy practice and consulting business. Why am I here? I am here as a part of my journey, right? Okay. Self-discovery. It has always been a long-held deep desire from when I was young to travel abroad, live abroad, and China was not the place that I thought I would go. I was like dead set on Barcelona, Spain. I have a degree from the University of Texas, business degree. I was going to do study abroad in Barcelona. That didn't work out. I had this bug of like living internationally. And so when China came, I was just like, is this one of those moments where my mom would always say, don't block the blessing because it doesn't come in the packaging that you have formulated in your mind? And yeah, so I'm here to help people, and grow. Help children, help families, help the Black community in general, Black community of the diaspora in general, have a good understanding, an accurate understanding of the importance of mental health, breaking stigmas, helping us to be free. What else did I miss something?
I'm not even sure.
This
was a journey.
Oh my gosh, right? I think that I'm a conduit for change and connection.
Yes.
So yeah, there are so many doors that I've been able to walk through just being in Beijing for almost 5 years. And I think that I wouldn't have been able to do a lot of the things that I've been able to do here had I remained in the U.S. So I'm grateful for the opportunity to, flex my independence, live abroad, grow as a person, be broken down to be built back up for sure. So I can't say long story short. I don't even know how to do that. Just honest.
Yeah, and we appreciate it. We appreciate it here. Everybody who has ever watched any of my vlogs or listened to any of my podcast episodes knows that I am definitely not short-winded.
Yes, verbose is a gift.
Yes, we give to gab, talk it up. That's fine. Okay, so as y'all know by now, we have no real structure for these sit downs, these chat sessions. But the one thing before I get into that, let me tell you why for me, Kindall and I sort of connected, right? So at the storytelling, and listening to, who she was, because they introduced her a bit to introduce the workshop and everything. So listening to who she was, this licensed therapist and being the certified school counselor. And I'm like, these are things that are familiar to me, right? Having gone to Hampton for my master's in school counseling, big up Hampton HU.
Right.
And then getting my PhD in school counselor education and supervision. And for me, I talked a little bit about, being here and working on my PhD and not being able to go back and sort of close the I guess,
Right.
And even that, if we go back a little further, when I lived in Hampton, so between 2010 and 2016, I lived in Hampton and got my master's, took the certification exam, passed it, needed to get hours. The job that I worked right after my master's, it was
interesting.
That's
the word. It's the catch-all.
It was interesting.
Okay.
And I didn't know how to broach the subject of needing supervision hours. I didn't know how to, because I didn't know what we were doing.
Right.
And so I worked for 9 months, but none of that counted. And there were a lot of things that I didn't really understand.
Oh, wow.
And okay, so for me, being from the Bahamas, having to talk about getting hours for licensure, stuff like that, that was a foreign concept to me, right? And living in the Bahamas, I didn't have yet a desire to go into the mental health field. I always knew I wanted to be a teacher. And so that's what, and with being a teacher, you don't have to be licensed. It's not a license. You don't have to take the praxis or anything. When you go to the University of the Bahamas, you go through the 4 years or however many extra time, right? You go through that time, and then you end with the teaching practice, which is an internship, for 10 weeks, if I'm not mistaken. And once you graduate, then you are basically certified to be a teacher.
Okay.
And so now coming to the United States and deciding that, okay, I'm going to do this counseling thing. And they start talking about licensure and needing these hours and blah, blah, blah. And I'm just so now you have to look up, look up by state, what's required by your state.
Yeah.
And so licensure wasn't even really on my mind, even up to the ending of my degree. And I know I probably made my professors a little disappointed, because I'm just I don't know what's supposed to happen here. And so I couldn't get a job in the school, applied, whatever, didn't get anything, and got this job as a therapeutic day treatment counselor. And
I can only imagine.
Man.
Yes, I know.
That was a time in my life.
Yeah.
We praise God for bringing me through.
Yes.
Yes. But that was one of those where, you know, like I complained to my parents, and my father is just like, you have to do what you have to do before you get to do what you want to do. So this is one of those moments where you have to bear down.
Yeah.
And just, yeah.
Can you repeat that statement again? What your daddy said?
That you have to do what you have to do before you get to do what you want to do.
Bookmark that, y'all. I'm gonna put it on the post-it note.
Nah, listen, if you listen to my father, you're gonna catch some pearls of wisdom. You will. It might be wrapped up in some other stuff. You'll get something.
Very well seasoned.
You will get something. Oh, man. So, yeah, like, I went through that. Never really bothered with licensure. And didn't know, like, exactly what I needed. And even for my certification, passing the test was, you know, only one step.
Right.
You need to get those hours.
Right.
Blah, blah, blah. And then that was 2013. In 2014, I got accepted into the PhD program and worked for a counseling center. Worked sort of like as a doctoral intern. Mm-hmm. And then also, you know, they started a therapeutic day treatment program. And so I got to be the assistant program manager for that, based on what I had already done. And again, you know, it was just like I had put in this work for the past year, 2 years, but none of it counted towards, like, I couldn't backtrack or whatever. And that was a little bit discouraging.
Yeah.
And then in 2016, I had to leave and go back home. And so it was just like, yeah, okay, we're just not going to be licensed.
Yeah.
And then my application for the NBCC certification expired. And so it was just like, all right, that stage of my journey just, and it's fine. And so that for me was, I don't know, I had mixed feelings about it, because it's like I didn't fully complete this stage, but also, what would I have done with it? Like, I wasn't staying in the United States. Yeah. I don't know if that's ever going to be a place that I go back to live. So it's like, what would I have done with it? It would have just been extra letters behind my name that, So, I mean, you know, at the end of the day, all right.
A lot to process.
Yeah.
Still.
So listening to, because this all started with what we met, listening to, you know, who she was and what she'd done, I was like, this could be, you know, somebody good to know. And so that night, now, y'all know me, I'm an introvert. And when it comes to new people, I'm not the one to always take the initiative. So I'll be like, hey girl, hi, and then go about my business. And we just won't talk again for the rest of the night. But I'll be thinking in my head like, oh, she seems like a really cool person. I don't know how to make friends, y'all. At 33, I'm not good at it.
Not alone.
So I remember it was after the event. We were both standing outside of the hotel waiting on DDs. And I was just talking to her, and it's like, oh, we have some things in common, blah, blah, blah. She's like, oh, yeah, cool. And then my DD came, I'm like, okay, bye. And that was it. Did not know if I would ever see this woman again. And so fast forward to season 2 of Brown Girl in Beijing, where I talked a bit about my own mental health journey.
Yeah.
And told y'all that I had resources. You know, if you were in Beijing, I had resources. She was one of the resources. She didn't even know it.
I'm happy about that. I'm happy.
So I'm like, yeah, I know people. Have not spoken to this woman since. Right? So I'm like, yeah. I know people. And so somebody basically, like, they were like, all right, Shannon, like, what are the resources? Can I have? I'm looking for something. I'm like, oh, yeah, 1 second. to reach out to Kaylee.
Okay.
Kaylee had found you. I don't remember how she found you.
I think Kaylee and I met through Mark at this event. What was that interesting event? It was some date night China.
Date night, yeah.
And we met there. Yeah, because I've known Mark for a minute.
Okay.
And that's when I met Kaylee, but didn't know her.
Right. So I knew that Kaylee knew you because she shared something of yours, like maybe a flyer, and I'm like, oh, I know this person. And so I reached out to Kaylee and I'm like, hey, do you have Kindall's contact? Like I told somebody, I knew therapists here and I want to be able to pass that information along. So I had Kindall's contact and also my own therapist that I passed along. So I added Kindall. I'm like, hey, I'm just reaching out because I'm sharing your contact information with somebody else, and I didn't want to do that and not give you the heads up. So just letting you know. And then from there, a friendship
blossoms.
Right.
Yeah.
And I don't know. Like we just talked, just check in. There was one point where Kindall had started going to home plate for the quiz nights on Thursdays, and I don't usually go out during the week when I'm working, and so I wouldn't go. So we never saw each other there. We still haven't.
No, my life has been topsy-turvy lately.
But so it always happens that when I went, she wasn't there.
Yeah.
And then when she went, I wasn't there. So at one point they thought that we were the same person. But yeah, we started being able to just hang out a little bit more. So if she's doing something, she'll text me like, hey, do you want to do this with us? Blah, blah, blah. Yeah, like, cool, let's go. If I'm doing something, try to do the same thing. And then through her, like, I've met a group of other just Black women. And that's been a blessing to me because you don't realize how much you miss it until you get it back.
Yeah.
And it's really, like, I love my friends of different cultures, different races, ethnicities, love. But there is something magical about, like, something goosebumpable just about being in the presence of Black women. Black people. But yes, like-minded Black women. Like, it's just, like, electric.
I agree. And that's been something I think I've been here almost 5 years that I was longing for. I love a multicultural crowd.
Yeah.
But there's a veil of misunderstanding and disconnect to some degree.
Yeah.
Right? When it comes to the experiences that you have. A lot of them don't understand what it's like to be walking down the street. You get recorded.
Yeah.
You get touched on. Yeah. You get stared at. Right. And I'll be like, don't pull it too tight. You might pull it off.
Right. And if it ends up in your hand, what's going to happen?
Exactly. So I get what you're saying. There's just a deeper level of connection. There's a through line of understanding. There is peace and joy. Laugh at anything. Kiki.
Yep.
It's a vibe.
It is.
And it's something that as Black women living abroad, especially in China, you have to have to thrive.
Yes.
Not survive, thrive.
Yes. Yeah. Nah, that's a word.
Yeah.
What I love most is, like, for me, it doesn't matter if that Black woman has come from the West Indies, from the United States of America, from one of the many countries in Africa. It doesn't matter where she comes from. Like, it is still a vibe.
It is.
It's still we find, even if, the accent is a little bit difficult to understand. I know for some people, when I start speaking, when my Bahamian accent comes out and I start speaking very quickly, it's like, but you get the gist.
Yeah.
You get the gist, and we're rocking. We moving through the conversation.
Yeah.
And it's just so much. It's so much fun. It's so much fun just having those connections.
Yeah.
And like for me, I don't like to go out much. I love to stay at home. And even when I'm doing things that I enjoy, or I know I'm going to do something that I'm going to enjoy, I'd still rather be in my own space.
Yeah.
That's just, once I'm out, it's fine.
Right.
But making that sacrifice and being rewarded in that way with that company, with those people, it's heartwarming. Being 1,000 miles away from home, and being in China is very convenient. Like, I do love it here. I love that my nail broke. I don't even know what I was doing, but it popped off. And I picked up my phone, went on Meituan, ordered some glue, and some trash bags so that he wouldn't just bring glue. But ordered some glue and some trash bags, and in 45 minutes, my nail was fixed.
Yeah.
I mean, not like fixed, but fixed enough to where,
right.
You can't see that it's broken from far away.
Right.
And that's not something I can do at home. And so, being here is very, very convenient. But without that community,
it's lonely.
It is. Having friends, it is like you say, it is really nice to have friends from different cultures, and to have that multicultural crowd, and you gain an understanding of different cultures.
Right.
You gain sort of a deeper sense of empathy for people when you understand a little bit more about their backgrounds. But there are always going to be just those inside jokes kind of thing that you have with one set of people that you don't have with another set of people. And it's nice to have both.
Yeah.
It's nice to have both sets of friendships.
I think they're both necessary.
Yeah.
Right? Just with where we are, it's a global community. We're connected to so many different people. We all work in international schools for the most part.
Yeah.
So being able to, I would say, ebb and flow out of these different organizations, communities, people is a skill, right? However, being able to spend time with your folks, whoever, black women of all over the world, it's like floating on a raft, right? There's a level of security and safety and just comfort and ease that if I've had a hard day at these international schools that I work with, where I feel sometimes these people don't really understand me, my perspective, the life I've lived, and how all of that enriches the work that I do, I get to go and spend time with these individuals that I don't have to explain that to.
That's the part.
Right? It's just like one of them days, yeah. Or when it's joyful, when something really works out, it is permeated throughout everybody. Everybody gets it.
Yeah. And
they're happy and celebratory. It's a healing experience.
Yes.
That one has to have to really have a thorough experience here in Beijing. I don't know how it is in other countries. I have friends in Portugal that say the black women community there is fire. And I'm like, I think we all have similar experiences to have, because we clearly all have something in common. We're all risk takers, obviously. We all,
out here,
I would imagine, right, beat by the seat of our, I'm getting this wrong.
Flying by the seat of our pants.
Not even that. Beat by the tune of my own drum. That's where I was like, that idiom was escaping me. And we're creative. We do more than what we're here for.
Yes.
So we've been able to help each other grow, not only personally, emotionally, but business-wise. We collaborate, we share. It is just like an exponential level of connection, like a spider web.
Yeah.
I saw that analogy today, a spider web where I connect you to this person and we connect, but it's not transactional. I don't like transactional relationships. It's deeper than that, right? It's like there's levels to it. So, yeah. I don't even know what the initial statement was.
I don't know either, but yeah. it is, because something you said, working in these multicultural environments.
Yeah.
Because everybody is here in Beijing, all the expats, they need jobs, right? And so working in these environments where you're working with people from different countries, and you you constantly have to like answer these questions. You feel like you have to explain yourself. Because stuff just gets lost, even though we're both speaking English. Like, we're speaking different kinds of English, obviously. But when you come back to your people where you don't have to answer questions, like, you can just, it's a recharging moment.
Yeah.
And that's what I try to get people to understand about me. I work with 6th graders. I get asked questions all day long, right? I'm seriously going to invest in one of those clickers that people use to count how many people are in the space, just to count how many times my name is called. How many times I hear Dr. E, Lao Shur, teacher, how many times, just in a 40-minute class period. Because after that, I don't want anybody else to ask me any more questions. Yeah. Don't ask me to explain anything, especially as a grown adult. Please don't. I don't have the mental capacity to explain what this is for you right now. Yeah. Please. So being in that space where I can just sort of like
decompression.
It's just really, really nice.
Yeah. It makes me think about when we all went to the Van Gogh Alive exhibit.
Yes.
Like, it's the dead of winter, so it's cold. But to be able to just choose to collectively go do something fun, and it just reminds me we were in the sunflower room, and we having like a full-on photo shoot, and people around just like, they just looking. I mean, we styling, we profiling, we posing, the lighting, everything. Yes. That is what it man, it's just like that communal support. It's just, all right, let's just, and then we went to eat. Right? I think you went somewhere else.
Yeah, I had something else to do. I can't remember what I had to do, but I couldn't go eat.
And this is making me think about at the end of the exhibit, we're in the gallery jamming, Mariah Carey, Babyface, like we have a full-on concert. Full-on concert. It was everything. That's it. That's it. Other people don't do it. But I don't see it.
And if they do, it looks weird.
It does, right? No shade on anybody else. We don't really get off on getting drunk and toting each other down dirty Hutong streets. Because I don't like the dirty Hutong streets.
We don't carry each other. Like, we ain't trying to drunkenly support each other. No. That's too much work. No. But yes, singing at art galleries. I forgot about that.
I was thinking about that the other day. I was looking through the pictures.
That was a time.
It was so much fun.
Oh man,
it was fun. I think we're going to a gallery
from Monet.
Yeah,
next one.
Yeah,
I don't know. All right, to be completely, I forgot to say this in the group. To be completely honest, I only went to the Van Gogh exhibit for the Sunflower Room.
It was worth it.
I'm not very cultured when it comes to art, you know. So, but maybe just I'll see what my calendar looks like.
Yeah, I hope they bring like a Basquiat, because I'm not going to Paris. I have no desire. But if they could do like Basquiat and other black artists, that's not like blatantly racist, like some of the other exhibits that they've had here. First one in line. Like, it'll be a time.
Hopefully they will.
I hope so.
I think being in China for so long, and especially for the past 2 years, not really being able to leave and come back.
Ooh, it's been challenging.
I get thrown off when I hear English. Like, if it's not from the people that I'm with.
Right.
Like, I just hear in the background.
Right.
And in the same way, you know, like when I'm in a space and I hear music that, not just Western music, but I hear Babyface and Mariah Carey every time I close my eyes, and I'm just like,
jamming. I tell you, every time I go to a restaurant, they are playing not just black music, but the best Motown,
Anita Baker.
Girl, listen, Waggas will forever be one of my little everyday go get some lunch places because they play black music on a loop. And it is everything. I even like Union Bar in Opposite House, which is probably where I'm going to do some work today. Always. And I just be in there like, at least I get that. My soul fed by the musical genius that we have spread across the world. So, again, there's an affinity for
Black culture.
Certain aspects of, our culture. I just wish that it was all-encompassing. Which is why we have each other to help navigate the challenges that we experience living in this country. But also, just to be able to share like the growth that we've been able to make, because I don't think that you can live here and not change in some way. And if that doesn't happen, then it kind of feels like, are you taking full advantage of the opportunity that you have? Because we live vastly different lives as international individuals in China than local people would.
Yeah.
And so I think that it's a gift. It's not always easy by any means, but yeah, it's definitely been a journey, one that I didn't anticipate, but I'm grateful for it.
No, that's real tea. Just thinking about the kind of experiences that we're afforded, or the opportunities that we're afforded. You really can't if you are here, especially for some time. If you've been here and you look exactly the same, you act exactly the same as you did when you first came here, then something is off.
Right.
Like there should be some kind of transformation that is happening over time.
For sure.
That's like being here for 10 years and not understanding anything about the language. Like not, even if you don't speak fluently, like for me, I've been here for almost 4 years, and I can understand some things. I can't speak fluently, but I understand some things, and I can pick up little words, whatever, and because with Chinese, it is all about the context.
Oh yeah, and it's an alphabet. It's hard.
So, like in the context of I've ordered food and my delivery guy has called and he's like, why my dollar? Food is here. Good. Or one called me yesterday, and I think he was asking me if he was supposed to come to the East Gate, but I heard Dongmen. And so I'm like, oh, Dongmen. Like in his string of Chinese words, I heard Dongmen. So I'm like, Dongmen, wait. He's like, okay.
What does that mean?
East Gate.
Oh, okay.
So I'm like, okay. And yeah, he showed up, gave me my food. We good to go. And so it's like you pick up little things.
If you try.
Yeah. And sometimes even if you, well, that's the thing that gets me, because even if you don't try, like, I don't know, I feel like if you hear something over and over and over again, your brain starts to connect that phrase with like that situation. And so, like subconsciously you sort of pick it up. So I feel like it would be very, very difficult for you to be here for an extended period of time and just there's no difference.
Right.
That's wild.
No engagement with the culture. I've seen it. Like, communication
irritates me.
Girl, communication is so important. I think one of the things that I struggle with is not knowing how to articulate what I need, how I feel, and having learned just very beginner Chinese. Even being able to talk to the shifu. Google Translate can only get you so far, right? But it's like the intentionality. I've chosen to come live in this place, so I'm going to intentionally try to engage with it in authentic ways that are helping me learn and grow and connect and really become a part and take part in this full experiment. And it baffles my mind, individuals that come and are just anti everything Chinese culture. I'm like, why are you here? Why are you here?
There was this guy that very briefly, talking, and I think I told him that I had like leftovers that I wanted to eat for dinner before he and I met up, and he said, well, what do you have for leftovers? And so I described it, and it was Chinese food, and he's like, oh, why are you eating that? Thanks.
What about this? Yeah.
What? Yeah. I'm just like,
that's interesting.
What? Do you not like Chinese food? How long have you been here? Why are you here? There's nothing that you would eat?
No baozi.
Just nothing? Just fried rice, like nothing?
I mean, maybe not chicken feet.
And we have chicken feet at home.
Texas too, girl. We have everything.
But yeah, I don't eat chicken feet.
Yeah.
But yeah, like nothing? Come on. What do we... But there are some, and that bothers me when, you come across people that sort of just live in their own little bubble here, and they choose not to, like, they make the active choice not to just interact with anything, any of the elements of this culture. Yeah. And that's just like, it is, why are you here?
Yeah.
What did you come for? If you don't want to interact.
Right. And it's really easy to do. Right. The international community is it's small because it's so interconnected. But I just don't understand. I may not like everything that happens in China, but I don't like everything that happens in the U.S. either. But it's to be able to, and I think this lends itself to the kind of work that we do, honestly, the people that we are, when it comes to being multicultural and culturally competent, to be able to appreciate the nuances in the cultures that we are guests in.
Right.
Because we would like that same level of appreciation and respect for ours.
Right.
Again, we know how it is for people to extrapolate all the good things out of our culture, but not have a full appreciation for the wholeness of who we are as people. So I think as a professional, part of the reason I'm a professional is so other people don't have to experience some of the hurts and traumas that I have. So I think that's the lens that I kind of work through when it comes to how can I better understand the culture that I'm living within. Because I know how it feels for folks to take what they want but not appreciate the whole. Does that make sense?
Yeah. And it one of the, I think, interesting things is you take like our music, you take our food, you take these things that they look so appealing, while you ignore what those things were born out of. And I think that's, it's like you're really not you're taking the tip of the iceberg.
Exactly.
And running with it, ignoring everything else.
Exactly.
And it isn't fair, because then we don't really understand each other. And I think it becomes a lot easier to dismiss, when somebody's going through something, because you've only ever bothered to look at surface things. You've only ever bothered to accept surface things, without having that full appreciation for everything that's gone into making this culture what it is, everything that's gone into making these people who they are. So yeah, man, it is. That will segue us into our last area of discussion. Your word for the year.
Okay.
So you've talked about being this way, talking about doing, setting out to do something and doing it. So please share with everyone your word for the year.
My word for the year it's intentional. And I use that word because I'm involving myself in so many things that stretch me, and it is uncomfortable. And I don't like to be uncomfortable. I was just talking to my mom this morning, and I've really been in a place where I'm engaging in these new things, and dealing with all the imposter syndrome that comes with it, and that can trickle down into how motivated am I to finish the work, follow through. Follow through was a word the other year. But with intentional, it's a reminder that this is what you want. So you have to do things on purpose to move in that direction. So I have to really ask myself every day, is what you're doing right now intentionally moving you in the direction that you said you want to go? It's a literal kick in the butt every day. And some days it's like, nope. And I'm going to still be like this for 30 minutes and then I'm going to get up and be intentional. And then most days it's like, yeah. But then I realize with my word is the fact that it is my word shows that I'm being more focused. And I don't give myself credit for that. As I'm sitting here saying it out loud, I've been in the process. The fact that, y'all, I'm so emotional right now. Just like the fact that to have a desire, to have a hope, to know that God has more.
Come on.
You know, I'm so emotional, and I know that it's okay to cry.
It is.
Not to run away from the calling that you have.
Come on.
And so, being intentional using that as my word for the year has helped me to understand that there are so many parts of the journey that will make you uncomfortable, but you're going to grow from it. But in order to get to that thing that is laid out for me, just for me, I have to, on purpose, choose the path that is going to stretch me the most, that is going to create ways for me to trust that God has already figured it out. And I fight it like I am an independent individual. I like to figure things out, and all this is a trauma response for sure. But being intentional, using the word intentional is a constant reminder of checking my actions, right? Checking the words that I'm using, helping to keep myself in alignment with the purpose that I know is for me and the things that I said that I want for myself. So it also helps me to remember that it's a process. Nobody wants to suffer. Nobody wants to go through, the difficulty. But that is what separates the dreamers from the doers. It's the intentionality behind your actions. And so I say all that to say my word is intentional for 2022. Listen, I can't do it in the little words now.
No, it's all right. We went to church.
Listen.
That's okay.
What's your word for the year?
Mine is contentment.
That's right.
Contentment. A couple of weeks ago, so I started doing this devotional, this year-long devotional with Divine. Shout out to Divine. We started on my birthday, January 16th, and it's with Joyce Meyer. And
love Joyce Meyer.
Same. And a couple of weeks ago, the devotional followed being content. And, there was this thing, she was just like, when you wake up in the morning, you have to remind yourself, I choose to be content. And so I'm like, okay, we're going to do it. And so this was like a Thursday or a Friday. And I'm like, we're doing this. And so Monday, this was just before school opened up. So first week of school, first day of school, I said I choose to be content. And, I had a really good day. It was pretty much smooth sailing the whole day. And I was like, oh, this is going to be great. Second day of school, I choose to be content. Everything hit the fan.
Tested.
Everything. And honestly, we've just finished week 3. And it's just been a very trying time. And there was one period where I lost my cool. A student did something and I had the whole class and I just got so angry that I wanted to cry. And I did act out of anger. And his response to me was so calm. Because I think he saw it. He saw something snap in Dr. E, and he was like, she is not playing.
Right.
And so he's like, okay. And after the class, I pulled him aside. I said, look, I'm very sorry. Dr. E should not have raised her voice to you. Thank you for doing X, Y, and Z. I need us to make sure that from this point on, like, we need to look out for each other, right? You need to help me, I need to help you. You can't do X, Y, and Z in the classroom. Just while I'm teaching, you can't do it. He's like, I understand. Like, we're fine. And then to the class, I apologize. I'm like, Doctor, you should not have said what I said I meant. The way that I said it, I should not have done that. You know that I don't like to raise my voice at you guys. So I'm like, we need to work together. But it was one of those things just kept building and building and building and building. And I couldn't hold it any longer. And then you have to go back because it's like, I'm tired, I'm ready to go. And then you have to go back to, I choose to be content. Like, I choose to focus on, like, yes, I feel these feelings. I have these feelings. I feel these feelings. But I choose now to focus on the fact that I do have a job, the fact that I do get to invest in the lives of these children, the fact that I love these children, and, like, these things, because Romans 8:28, all things work together for good to them that love the Lord and are the called according to his will and purpose. I believe that I am called according to the will and purpose of the Lord. So I believe that all things are going to work together for good. And so I am content in knowing that even if in this moment it doesn't feel good, in the end, all things work together for good. And so, yes, I have those, just like you say, like, you have those moments where you're not living out your word, and you have to take stock. Is this me being content right now? No? Okay, we gotta shift gears.
Right.
And so I'm trying to be intentional about being content.
I'm working on contentment. It's a daily growth exercise.
Yes, ma'am.
But I think that it also helps me to recognize that I'm really strong-willed. And it has taught me to, again, seek what it is that I'm wanting to move toward, as opposed to focusing what I feel is lacking in my life. And really breaking that stronghold on choosing to do it alone. Because it's a lot of fear and discomfort in inviting people into an area that you feel a bit insecure about, but also knowing that while everybody doesn't deserve to be in that space, there are people that have demonstrated themselves to be trustworthy, but you have to know that you deserve that. You are worthy.
Come on.
And
merch.
Right. And give yourself that gift of ease and sharing and having support, which helps you to feel more content and keeps you in alignment with being intentional.
Yes, y'all see how we tie that all together? That's what we do.
Yeah.
All right, man. That's because we could actually be here all day.
Go on. Listen.
We could.
Not a problem.
But not right now. We gotta say that's season 4.
Right. Because we're thinking future.
We just need a Shannon and Kindall show.
Hey, she said it.
That's what we need. The traveling therapists. There you go.
I got a t-shirt already made.
Come on.
Listen, girl.
Come on. I'm going to link her store too. For you to get some merch.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. That's all we have time for today.
Thank you.
So I appreciate you.
I appreciate you. My friend.
Yes, friend. Yeah, and this is actually the last episode for this season.
Oh wow!
So
I'm
happy to be ending it on this note.
Yeah.
I feel like it's a really uplifting, encouraging, empowering note to end on. Like I got goosebumps.
Listen.
Yeah, man. I appreciate y'all for listening, for rocking with us, for continuing to rock with the brown girl in Beijing and her friends. That's really it. Yeah. So until next season.
Oh, wow.
XOXO, Dr. Baby.
Adios.
Thank you guys for watching and listening to another episode of the Brown Girl in Beijing podcast. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe, and turn your notifications on for more Brown Girl in Beijing content. See you soon.